Michael S Garner, and today we're going to do the spoiler review of Shazam. I actually got to see this at the early screenings. If you saw my other review for Shazam, the non-spoiler one, I got to see the early screenings that they had 2 weeks prior to its release, and lucky enough I was able to actually make it. And I just want to post my spoiler review, and here it is. Basically, I just want to get down to it right away. First thing I loved about this is seeing my favorite guy, one of my favorite guys from Smallville, the actor who plays Lionel Luthor, actually portraying Dr. Savannah's father in this movie. And just the whole opening scene, I thought that kind of took me back. I knew it was going to be, I was told about some dark, gritty elements of this movie, but that really threw me back. I don't recall that in the comic book, but I don't recall the whole story that Geoff Johns did. Just because there were little excerpts in the end of every single Justice League 52 version that came out. So I don't even recall that type of a scene with Dr. Savannah, but it was impactful. I was like, whoa, you really want to set up this villain? You just did it. So I thought they did a really good job with that. It was dark, it was in your face. First I thought Lionel was actually dead, and later as revealed in the movie that he's paralyzed, which is still pretty damn bad. Actually, I love the group psychosis angle that they had there, where the scientists were basically studying all the people who were possible candidates to be Shazam, that the Shazam wizard was actually going around trying to adopt. And at first I was like, you know, I've never seen it done that way, even in the comic book, where they just basically stepped back and said, okay, what would the real world do if some of these people, or all these people, remembered this situation happening to them? And all these different, like, it wasn't just kids and everything like that. There were grown-ups, there were men, there were women, there were everything. Because he tried everybody out there to see if they were pure of heart, and then that they could actually have the power of Shazam bestowed upon them. That part I really did like. I thought it was kind of a clever thing to do. And like I said, yeah, the group psychosis thing was just, I'd not seen that before in a comic book, and I thought that was a pretty damn good original idea for the actual movie itself, and to explain the science versus magic aspect of it all. I was a little bit surprised, though, that the wizard didn't erase their memories. I'm like, really? You have all this power and you didn't? But his power was waning because he was, you know, he had to battle Black Adam and all this stuff like that in order to, whatever, all the stuff that happened prior to the movie actually coming out, like his history. He indicated that his powers were waning, and it was kind of almost the end of his time. So I guess I can understand that, but I was like, oh, you could have just erased their memory and we wouldn't have this problem whatsoever. Sins in live action were freaking creepy, scary monsters. I didn't expect for them to actually come to life. I've seen them in the comic books just as being the deities or whatever you want to call them, but I'd never seen like them physically manifest themselves like they did in this movie. And him to actually, Dr. Savannah to actually use them as a weapon against people, that threw me off. I did not expect that in the movie at all. Not that they did a great job of that, and the director, why can't I remember his name? David S. Sandberg, because he comes from a horror background, like I said in my previous video. You could see that horror part come out right there, even more so than the opening scene with the car crash and everything like that. This was straight up horror, which they were trying to introduce in this movie. And I was like, are kids gonna like this part? Are they gonna like be scared of this? Well, we'll find out, because it's opening weekend now. And also that goes into basically the boardroom scene, which a lot of people were talking about that and hinting about it who saw this movie prior. And the boardroom scene was pretty vicious. I mean, he went in there and killed them all, every single one of them, including his father, and that threw me off a lot too. I'm like, okay, so this is the villain that's gonna kill people. He's gonna rip them all to shreds. If not, he's gonna have his little minions go over there, 7 deadly sins, and do it himself. I'm just gonna skip to one thing that really surprised me a lot. Well, not really surprised me, but I'm glad that they did it. I was thinking they were going to go there, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to fast forward right to the damn end of the movie, which was the basic fact in the third act where they had the entire Shazam family on footage. I was just like, hey, every single one of them. Mary Marvel, Captain Marvel Boy Jr., all these people. I knew that they had set up the fact that the family was in there, but I didn't think that they were actually going to really go there. Put them in full costume, have them do action scenes. That was the thing that threw me off. I'm like, is this going to be in costume? But no, it kind of made sense, because you have the 7 deadly sins and you have the Shazam family. fighting it all together. And I thought they really looked good. I mean, like Mary Marvel really looked like Mary, even though they didn't show too much of her. And they leaned in more to the other girl, the African American girl, the little girl who became really quick, whatever. That's the only power she was using. I was just like, but I was still happy. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm actually seeing all these other characters, and they did it in the first movie. But that's one good thing. You don't want to miss out on not doing the things that will get people more engaged about a character or about the movie itself, and like leave it out and leave it for the second movie, because the fact that they put it in the first movie, I think, would make people go, whoa, I want to see what the second one's going to bring now. Like, we have the whole damn Marvel family out there if needed. And it didn't take away from Shazam himself. It was just the fact that, like, this is an aspect of the power, and this is how it can actually work through other people. Like I said in the non-spoiler thing, the damn shoulder thing wasn't there again. Like, we have a shoulder, you're supposed to have a trap, shoulder, but okay, that was a minor gripe. But I still thought it looked good. But it was even the Asian American kid, when he did this, like he held up his arm like that and everything like that, I was like, lack of shoulder, lack of shoulder, lack of shoulder, lack of traps, shoulder, whatever. It was weird. It was kind of like, it was like that. Or it should be like that. But, alright, that minor gripe, I was still very happy with it. I was really, really surprised that it happened. I was really happy to see the Shazam family. And also, this is going to be a small thing, but I know it made a lot of people in the movie theater laugh. And it took me a second to go, what? Oh yeah, that makes sense. And it also explains a little bit about Shazam's power. A lot of people are like, oh, he's just basically Superman. No, he's not Superman at all. And this is one of the things. He doesn't have super hearing. He doesn't have super sight. He doesn't have those powers. He has the powers of these gods, but those gods don't have actually those powers. And so when him and Dr. Savannah were actually having the aerial fight and everything like that, then Dr. Savannah was like blocks and blocks away from him, and he was basically doing his whole villain monologue to Shazam, and Shazam's like, what? I can't hear you. What are you saying? What? I did laugh out loud to that scene, because I'm like, okay, that was actually really funny. You got rid of two things. You hit two things at once. You hit his powers and exactly what he can do, and just the funniness of how a villain always has to have that monologue and everything like that they have to give off every single time. And that was just, this movie's great. I'm sorry. I know I gave it like an 8.5, but look, these little scenes that I started to remember, I'm like, they just did such a good job of this. And other than that, for me, it was just the two end credit scenes, where I did say in my non-spoiler review that I thought that I didn't want to say people don't sit in the theater and wait for them, but I really thought that the first one was something to be seen. The second one was kind of just like, it was just a joke about Aquaman. It didn't need, like, I didn't need to sit in the seat and wait for that. I could have waited till it came out on video at home or something. But the first scene, the problem with the first end credit scene was, for me, was that I think it was spoiled a lot online. There were a lot of reviewers out there, a lot of people who saw this movie like really, really, really early. They actually said that in the review, that, oh, there's a Superman scene possibly coming in. So when Superman came into the cafeteria with Billy Batson and all that, I was like, oh, okay, that's cute and everything like that. And obviously it wasn't Henry Cavill. Like, it was definitely not Henry Cavill. I don't even think the guy had a body of Henry Cavill in that. But it's just like some guy, but that was more the joke of the actual scene, is that they just put somebody in a damn Superman suit, didn't show his face, and just showed him walking into the room. And it was kind of sad, because there was one girl in the movie theater next to me, and she was just like, who's that? What? What do you mean, who is that? Is that Captain America? I don't get it. And I was like, oh god. I was lost on so many people, unless you're a geek. But it was cute and everything like that, and I think it, as a roundabout for the movie, like I said, it had to do with the story arc, because, sorry, his friend, I can't remember his name right now, but his friend, Captain Marvel Boy Jr., real life, but his friend, basically, he promised everybody in the school that he would actually have Shazam coming in, and he plussed it with Superman coming in, so that was a part of the story arc, and I appreciate the fact that they actually fit it in there, and it made sense for the end credit scene, and it got you a couple laughs at the same time. But all in all, the whole Shazam movie, it's not a complaint or anything like that, but I kind of said it in the other review as well, is that it was verbatim Geoff Johns' story in the 52 comic book. Everything that he did in there, down to having the whole Marvel family, or if you want to call them the Shazam family, but they're called the Marvel family. I'm keeping it that way. Sorry, Marvel comic books, MCU, but they had it first. And I just, I felt like verbatim, like other than those particular scenes that I said, that I couldn't say in the non-spoiler review, because obviously those are really particular, was just the fact that, it was that story. It was that story brought to life. And to Geoff Johns' credit, and like, I'm not the hugest fan of Geoff Johns, but I appreciate his work. I think he's incredible. Like, he's an incredible writer. I just don't like what he does with the DC universe sometimes. I do think that what he wrote worked really well on screen. I never thought of it that way. I'm like, it worked really well, down to the Shazam, the wizard himself. I mean, it worked incredibly well. And like I said, I really think that this was a really good movie, and those are basically the spoilers that I can say. And there's nothing else really big in there that I'm like, oh gosh, but that was basically it, and I really liked it. I hope you guys watch the movie this weekend. I know what the numbers are for this past weekend. Its release. I'll put that in another video. But I don't think it's all bad news and everything like that. I just kind of have my theory about it, and I want to mention that. So, until next time, my name is Michael S Garner, and I write and draw my own original online comic book. If you want to view it, you can. I haven't done anything in a while, but it's online. It's called Visions of the New at visionsofthenew.com. And you can see a PDF version of it there. You can view it online, whatever. I appreciate you even taking the time to look for it. So, until next time.